Guys, this is Will here from the Running Injury Free Revolution. So for this video I'm just going to talk to you about stitches. Side stitches are a real problem with quite a lot of runners, and a lot of people aren't able to really put their finger on why they get that pain. And it can be a lot of different things, and there's a lot of theories and a lot of research that suggests that different things are causing that pain. So side stitches, or ETAP, exercise related transient abdominal pain, that's what it stands for, is sort of like a spasm in those, particularly in those intercostals. You find a lot of people who get that are people who really shallow breathe, so they're putting those muscles under a lot of strain. Quite often too it can be from diaphragm ischemia, so when there's not enough blood being supplied to the diaphragm, that can start to cause that sort of pain. Sometimes people look at ways of trying to prevent it as being trigger pointing, so you can trigger point near the 6th and 7th rib. There's also a motion that people look at of massaging around the serratus anterior. This is the muscle here, and that connects over to the ribs, and that helps to aid inhalation. So sometimes a build-up of tension in that area is thought to trigger that sort of cause of pain. I think one of the most important things to think about with side stitches is definitely your breathing. So when we breathe, we want to try and get it down into the diaphragm. We talked about this in breathing part 1, which is a previous video we made. When you involve your diaphragm in your breathing cycle, it starts to cause a nice calming effect through the body. So it reduces those internal stresses. Obviously your diaphragm, as it pulls down, brings air in. And when you start to engage that diaphragm, increase that sort of blood supply and oxygen supply in that area, you're reducing your chances of getting those spasms through the muscles. There's a lot of things you can do to try and avoid stitches too. For example, not eating right before performance or before a run, setting off not too fast. So in the same way people hit the wall from setting off too fast, you're also at risk of not being able to adapt in your respiratory cycle too. So if you set off too fast, sometimes you're not able to meet that oxygen and blood supply fast enough, and it can onset with stitches. So a nice warm-up to get that cycle going nice and comfortably. So in terms of stitches, guys, don't try and think about it as being purely, what you've drunk, what you've eaten. It can be your breathing mechanics. So trying to put a hold on getting a calmer breathing cycle, and not only is that going to prevent you from having stitches occur as regularly, but also it's going to make you feel calmer as a runner, and it's going to help you to aid your technique. So my tip for today, guys, is just make sure that you're breathing nice and calmly. Make sure you're breathing deeper. I always suggest down into the belly button, and we're trying to engage that diaphragm. That increases the oxygen and blood supply to the diaphragm, and it's going to prevent those sorts of spasms in that intercostal area and prevent those side stitches that can be really, really off-putting. So this is Will from the Running Injury Free Revolution. Please check us out at www.rifrev.com.